Hello again, my name is Dennis Karstens, and I'm going to put another video out with my opinion about some stuff. It's kind of fun, I'll do it. Anyway, words to live by. I'm going to talk today about Democrats and their claim that they are the ones who are protecting democracy, and it's Donald Trump who wants to destroy it, okay? A little background first. The media in this country has always been leaning liberal. In 2008, Barack Obama comes along, His Highness comes along, and the media dropped all pretense of being objective professionals. They just kissed his ass, shined his shoes, threw themselves at his feet, and worshiped him into the White House, okay? Now, if you do an objective analysis of Barack Obama's 8 years in the White House, you're going to come up a little short of what accomplishments this guy had. And I'm being serious here. You look at it and it's like, well, what exactly did he accomplish? Not much, other than having absolutely no background for it or any reason to be president. He managed to become one. But they did it, and they just, went along with the program and covered up for him. They became great at covering up for a president that wasn't really much of a president, okay? 2016, the election comes along. Obama can't run again, thank God. Enough of him. So what did they do? The Democrat Party decided they wanted to give this to Hillary Clinton. So they told all the quality candidates, people who might run against her, to sit on the sidelines because they wanted her to have it. And lo and behold, they have their primary season where people are allowed to go vote for the Democratic nominee. This is called democracy. When you go vote and you select somebody, well, what happened was Bernie Sanders was going to win. He was well on his way to winning the nomination over Hillary Clinton. And the Democrat Party was in a panic over this because there's no way this country was going to elect Bernie Sanders, a goofball old man socialist who had dreamed of being a communist in Moscow, to be president of the United States. It just wasn't going to happen. So what did the Democrats do? They rigged their party's primary system to give the thing to Hillary. These defenders of democracy decided, we can't let the voters pick this guy. We'll pick Hillary instead. I'm sorry, but that doesn't sound to me like democracy. So go forward now. Democracy, and Hillary gets her ass lopped off and handed to her by Donald Trump, which was quite amusing. Anyway, fast forward to 2020. Trump is running for re-election, and the media and the swamp creatures in Washington hate Donald Trump. So they call him Hitler and all this other kind of stuff. But the reason they hate him is because, folks, our government does not work for the American people. Donald Trump wanted to work for the American people. He wanted to do the things that he said he was going to do, build the wall, get better job, trade deals for our workers, and do more things for America. America first was his motto. Well, Washington is not an America First bunch of thieves. So what did they do? They rigged their primary again. Bernie Sanders again was on his way to winning. So they had to rig it again, only this time they come up with Joe Biden. Yes, Joe Biden. Now, for those of you who don't know a lot about Joe Biden's background, first of all, he's the most racist president we've had since Woodrow Wilson. And Woodrow Wilson was a raging segregationist racist. You look at Joe Biden's background. He once said about integrating public schools, I don't want my kids going to no jungle school. I'm probably paraphrasing a little bit, but he did use the term jungle school to describe what it was going to be like if all those black kids got to go to school with his lily white kids, like Hunter. Huh? Maybe that would have done Hunter some good. So anyway, once again, those defenders of democracy rigged their election to hand their nomination election process to give it to Joe Biden. Now, we're not allowed to talk about this. Everything in the election between Trump and Biden was just all on the up and up, right? But consider this. Joe Biden allegedly got 81 million votes. Donald Trump got 74 million votes. I'm not a math genius, but I can do that. That's 155 million votes between them. That's more votes than people were registered to vote. But everything's fine, right? Onward we go. Joe Biden, I don't know about the rest of you, but I could clearly see that in 2019, Joe Biden was becoming senile, and it was getting clear. It wasn't too bad yet, but it was becoming obvious. And here's the other thing about Joe Biden. Joe Biden was nobody's genius. Joe Biden was a third-rate political hack working on behalf of the Democrat Party. And no one ever looked at Joe Biden and said, whoa, there's a shining star of intelligence, that Joe Biden guy. What a great president he'll make. They just didn't have anybody else. So they shoved this guy down our throats. And here we are now, 4 years later. The media is acting like, we didn't see this. We saw what Joe Biden was really like, and then they're claiming that they didn't see it before this, that they just surprised them, and that this was just, he just had a bad night. He just had one bad night. 90 minutes of Joe Biden shouldn't dictate his 3.5 years of greatness. Okay, right. Okay. Bill Clinton said something amazingly stupid the other day. He was, of course, pumping up Joe Biden, and he said, Joe Biden has given us solid leadership. Really? Okay. I wouldn't let Joe Biden try to lead a troop of Cub Scouts across the street. Halfway there, he'd forget what he was doing, and the kids would have to help him. This guy has zero leadership ability, and he never really had any, all right? So now, when he fails miserably, and it's obvious to America, what are the Democrats going to do? Well, here's their problem. They had their primary season. Joe Biden got 99% of the votes, and the Democrats are trying to find a way to tell those people that voted for Joe Biden, we don't care about your votes. We're going to toss this guy aside and choose somebody else. Now, that, again, doesn't sound to me like democracy, does it? But they claim, once again, that they're the defenders of democracy, and they're going to do this, or they're going to at least try. For the good of the country, they need to let Joe Biden run and let the American people kick his old ass out the door, because that's exactly what he deserves. He did a terrible job. He was a terrible president. Everything he touched turned to shit. I mean, come on, be serious. Okay, I'm done with that. Now it's time for something a little funny. For those of you who don't know about it, there's a website called the Babylon Bee. The Babylon Bee is a satire site, and they do a lot of political satire. And I've got one here from the other day. 13 things Trump is now allowed to do after Supreme Court immunity ruling. There's a whole list of them. My favorite, oh, here's a good one that women will really love. Donald Trump is now allowed to leave the toilet seat up. Feminists in particular are reportedly outraged over this. Let's see. Go back for seconds before everyone else has finished with their first. He'll also now get 2 scoops of ice cream while everyone else has to settle for 1. He can drive in the carpool lane by himself. He'll also be allowed to make rolling stops at stop signs and merge without giving a little thank you wave to the guy behind him. But my favorite is this one. He will be allowed to rebroadcast a baseball game without the express written consent of Major League Baseball. Now, we've all heard that. In the 8th inning, the announcers announced no one is allowed to rebroadcast this without the express written consent of Major League Baseball. Donald Trump will now be allowed to do that. If you don't know what the Bible on B is, look it up. And for you people who are graduates of Ivy League colleges, have someone spell Babylon for you so you can find it. One last thing before I go. I'm going to put my book up again. I've got 19 others, but this is one I think everybody should read. Again, it's called Red Star Rising, a novel of America's future. And let me read just a little bit of the blurb on the back. What if COVID-19 wasn't an accident? What if China deliberately caused the coronavirus leak to gauge the response of the West, and especially America? Now, we don't know, and I'm not saying they did it, but they might have. We have no idea where that came from. All we've gotten out of the government is lies about this. So I wrote a book that lays out that the COVID-19, was a test case. They were testing our response to see what we would do and how we would react. And this is all fiction. This is all something I made up. But it could be happening too. I don't know. Somewhere in China, they have an ultra-secret lab going on where they are developing coronaviruses. And they've come up with one that's 10 times more powerful, 10 times more deadly than COVID-19. And it's going to be known as COVID-29 for the year it's released. And China finds a way to let me back it up just a little bit. They also invent the cure for it and the prevention for it. So they're ready to go. So they can save themselves, but they're going to kill 1 billion people. So they release this into America and make us literally kill off most of our military people and force us to surrender. This book is about what life is going to be like in America if this happens. Now, I know a lot of people would think, well, that can't happen here. Yeah, it can. And it may very well be happening here. Our government, like I say all the time, does not work for us. And the Democrats and the elected people in Congress are working toward making our government a one-party authoritarian state based on the Chinese model. They love China. They love the idea of one party controlling everything and calling all the shots. And if that happens, we're finished. And you're not going to like the result. So anyway, this book is available as both an ebook to download onto a Kindle or a pad or your phone. And it's also available in a written form on Amazon. And it's not even all that expensive, actually. So I strongly urge all of you out there to get it and read it, because it's a real eye-opener. I have a judge friend in Wisconsin that reads all my books. He couldn't read all of this. It scared him. He said he got up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom and couldn't get back to sleep because the first 50 pages of this scared the hell out of him, because it could be happening. Anyway, that's enough for today. You all have a good day, and I'll be back probably tomorrow. Thanks again.